Hello, everyone. My name is Marion with DTM Real Talk Channel. It's the channel that you can tune into, have the ability to listen to the thoughts of others about topics all over the world that touch every one of our lives. Everybody goes through basically the same thing. There is nothing new under the sun. So if you're going through, someone else has already been there. Maybe you can find hope. Maybe it's a pathway that can set you on the right road just by tuning in. So DTM Real Talk, just keeping it real. And if you like it, like us at the bottom, subscribe, and let us know just how we helped you. Just keeping it real. Nothing but love. This is DTM Real Talk, and we're just keeping it real tonight. And I do have a special guest, but before we do begin, let me just say, if this is your first time chiming in to DTM Real Talk, like, share, and subscribe, and I appreciate you to the utmost. And for our special guest, it is Terrence Taylor. He is back with us. Say hi to the good folks out there.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone.
All righty. You're not that nervous this time, right?
Probably the same.
Probably the same. Okay, folks, this has been so amazing. About a couple of weeks ago, Terrence was on giving us some insight and highlighting about depression and where it comes from, and men in the Bible that had experienced depression. And I actually got an email too, I forgot to tell you this, from someone that asked, were there any women in the Bible that had gone through depression? And so I have to let you come back and talk about that. But the reason he's back tonight is because I have been knowing you how long? 8 months? 6 months?
About a year, yeah. I think a year.
Yeah, it'll be a year, huh? Okay. And he has just become joined the church, the same church that I attend. So we attend the same church. And what impressed me about him was the fact that I saw that he had 2 young children. And how old are they?
6 and 7. I mean, 6 and 5.
6 and 5. And not that he had 6 children that were 6 and 5, but the way he took care of them. And I just automatically assume, y'all don't be assuming, that ain't good to assume. I assumed that he was getting them for the weekend. Until he told me, no, I don't get them for the weekend. They live with me. Yeah. So I just wanted him to tell the good folks out there, and I'm sure that there are many, many fathers or brothers out there that would like to know how to be a single father, that would like to hear some of the struggles of being a single father, some of the victories, some of the rewards, things of that nature. But before we start, you already introduced yourself. So before we start, how many children do you have?
I have 6 children.
6 children. You don't look like old enough to have 6 children, but okay. Anyway.
I'm old.
You old?
Yeah.
I think you ain't old. Okay. So how old is your oldest child?
29.
29. And so tell us about how, the beginning of you being a father to your 29-year-old. Tell us how that happened.
Yeah, he was born in 94.
Okay.
I had joined the military in 94.
Speak just a little bit louder. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have 2 children that's actually 29.
Okay.
They're both 29. And I joined the military in 94, and they was born in 94. Fatherhood was different with both of them. And total transparency. There was two different women. I was young. That's not an excuse. I was doing
young,
my thing.
Young and crazy. I understand.
No, I wouldn't even say that.
You weren't young and crazy?
Yeah, but I was more selfish and all about me than young and crazy.
Gotcha.
Yeah. To be totally honest, I wasn't considering other people's feelings. I didn't even think about the consequence of my actions, and I didn't think about how it make people feel inadequate and insecure about their own self, like they're not good enough to be with only, but I made choices to engage relations with two different women. They both got pregnant
Mm.
around the same time, and
Okay.
I didn't know about one, but the other one I did, of course, because I was in a relationship. Can't say committed. I was in a relationship with my son's mother. I actually married her as well, and so when I think I had just came back from basic training in AIT for a home visit, or either she called me. I don't remember how she told me she was pregnant. I was in basic training in February, and I left when I left, and he was born in November, so she was pregnant when I left, and so yeah, I was excited about it. I was because that's the girl I wanted to spend my life with. You know what I mean?
So that's the one you married
That's when I married. Yeah, yeah.
after or after she told you she was
Well, yeah,
pregnant.
we got married. We got married. My son was 2.
Okay,
Right. He was born in '94. We got married in '96.
got you.
Because again, I was in the military. I was in the army, and she was still down here. But when my son was born in November, November 6th, and his son is actually born November 7th, so I might get confused. But I got a grandson November 7th. My son born November 6th. But anywho, when she called me, she was in labor. I was actually at JRTC in Fort Polk, Louisiana, when she called, and the Lord blessed me that uh, when I this how it happened. We was playing war games at Fort Polk,
Uh-huh.
and I had got shot, and I had to go to the P Hall. That's a place where you go to get re-entry into the game. You
Okay.
die. I got medevaced out, and while I was in the medevac, I told a doctor uh, that my girlfriend is pregnant, and she's probably due to have the baby anytime. Do y'all mind if I make a phone call? One of the doctors gave me his phone, and I called home. And when I called home, I was blessed enough that they was
Wait,
going
this
into
was the
labor.
game. This was part of the game.
No, no. I was playing JRTC. We was fighting at JRTC. You play war games. You fight
Okay.
op 4. And so when I got shot, and that's a pretty good story too. When I got shot, well, you wear like laser gear. It's called Miles gear. And when you
Okay.
get shot, your Miles gear go off, and the OC come around and say you're dead. They take your kill. Every soldier has a kill card. They open your kill card and it tells you what wound you got, and it said an open chest wound. So they do everything. Like when you die, when you're supposed to lay down,
Uh-huh.
the medics run up to you and they act like, based off what your kill cards say, they uh they medically try to fix you based off your kill card. So I had to open chest wound. They bandaged me up. They put me on the stretcher, put me in a Black Hawk, and they flew me out. Now I wasn't really shot or anything. That was
Okay.
just part of the game. You get shot with Miles gear. Your Miles gear go off. You take your kill card out. You could have a broken arm, a broken leg, it don't matter. And
Uh-huh.
they got to treat you as if it was real. And they flew me out in a medevac helicopter to the hospital. You know what I mean? Because it's you train
Right.
to maintain technical proficiency. So you train in peacetime to operate and function right in wartime, right?
Okay.
So we go through the real scenarios
Real
as
scenario.
if,
Got you.
as if it was real. And so I actually went to the operating room. I'm whole, nothing's wrong with me, but they got to play it all out.
Right.
And I told the doctor while in the operating room, hey, my girl's pregnant. Can I use her phone? And he gave me his phone, and I called home, and she happened to be in the delivery room when her mom talked. When I talked to her mom, right? So I got to talk to her while she's in the delivery room. And that was
Uh-huh.
a blessing. That was a blessing.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Okay. But you were going through the whole scenario.
Right, and I know that sounds long and drawn out, but
Oh,
I
it's
was able.
okay. You know,
I
I'm
was
gonna say like the old people, you learn me something right now.
right, and I was able to talk to my girlfriend while she was having my son because I couldn't be there. I think that
Oh,
was pretty. I think that was pretty
that
good.
was, yeah,
Right,
that was. So you got to hear him cry.
right, right,
Awesome.
right.
So at what point did you get home to hold him?
Wow. I think I was at Fort Campbell in '94. I think I got home. Had to be around Christmas time,
Okay.
Christmas break, Yeah, because I don't think I went home for Thanksgiving. So around Christmas time, I probably drove home. I believe. I don't. I'm
Yeah, yeah.
that. Yeah, I don't remember.
So long ago. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So, all right. So you guys got married when he was 2,
Right.
right? So you were still in the military.
Yes.
Yes. So how did that back and forth, how did that work with your wife and your son that time?
Right. So, man, I knew me and my wife, or ex-wife, we met each other when she was 13.
Wow.
Well, we started talking when she was 13. I was 14, going on 15.
Uh-huh.
But we knew each other a long while because we grew up in the same church, same Sunday school, same vocational Bible school. Her father, my father-in-law, was my Sunday school teacher when I was 9.
Wow.
Right. And so we started talking when I was 13. She was 13, I was 15. And I knew we used to talk on the phone, and we used to do the same thing we talked about earlier. Hey, what you doing? Nothing. What you
Nothing.
doing? Nothing. Just on the phone, absolutely silent because there was nothing to talk about other than video games and stuff like that.
Right.
But we always would tell each other, let's pray that we get married. And
Wow.
I truly believe that she was definitely destined to be my wife. Uh, and we got married when my son was 2. And I was I was I was happy. I was in a good place. My mom was there,
Hmm.
and so it really worked out for the best for me and for I think and for her, I believe.
Okay. Okay. So, okay, so son is grown. So you guys divorced, I take it.
Yes, we divorced. Been divorced since
What how old
2022.
was your son when y'all divorced?
27.
27. When you
Right.
he was 27 when you got divorced?
Either 26 or going on 27. He's about 26, 27.
Okay. So you didn't take care of him by yourself. She did. You guys both did.
Right, right. Well, we had 3 kids in our union. So yeah, so she was a phenomenal mother. She did a great job. And
Awesome.
when we got married, of course, I moved my family to Fort Campbell with me, and went through the trials and errors of a young newlywed couple. And we
Right.
didn't have much. Um, I remember getting a sofa from a NCO. Some NCO gave me a sofa,
Hmm.
and that's all we had was a bed and a sofa. Because we didn't have much. I was an E3, maybe E4, and
Uh-huh.
just going through those. I was probably E4. Just going through those trials of a new marriage. You
Right.
know, the good thing about it is struggle. There's no progress without struggle, but
That's correct.
struggle has a way of binding people together because we find commonality in the things that's oppressing us to galvanize our relationship.
Yes.
And so struggle in marriages is not necessarily a bad thing when you have
Right.
a plan, when it's really when the marriage is really built on love, when the marriage is built on communication, when the marriage is built on faithfulness and
Hmm.
on the word of God. You
Right.
struggle comes in to bind and not to tear up, because
Sure.
you can find you can find that partnership to combat anything coming your way. That's what struggle does for a marriage. It galvanizes it. It
That's
makes
what
people
struggle
find.
does for any relationship.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
If
right,
you follow through with it. Yeah.
right, right.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so struggle wasn't necessarily bad. You know what I mean? Uh, Living paycheck to paycheck as an E4, only provided in the home, but a housewife, her responsibilities are just as strenuous, if not more stressful, as
Absolutely.
me out working. At least I see an environment change. I get to interact with people. Being in the house with a 2 year old that you can't really communicate with, um, not having a social network outside the
Yeah.
home can be depressing, can put you in a state of um, inadequacy. Is this marriage what marriage is supposed to be? Then you start comparing your marriage to marriages you've seen for
Right.
30 years. Of course, it's going to look different, especially if you're married for a year, but we don't think like that. We think we want the immediate gratification of a long-term marriage in a short-term time period, which
Yeah.
don't work.
And we don't want to work for it anyway. So
Right, right.
yeah.
Marriage is work.
It's work. It's work. I did 19 and I don't feel that I
Right,
worked hard enough for it, you know. So, but
Right.
anywho, um, okay, so you ever your son is grown, and so how talk about the other kids? Where did they come in at?
Um, but my three sons. Well, I got three sons with my ex-wife, Mike and Emmanuel.
Okay.
And so of course, we was married. She went home for a little while, and then when we left Fort Campbell, we went to Fort Hood, and I went home and I got a U-Haul, and I went home and packed up everything. And
Mm-hmm.
my son Manny wasn't born at the time. It was just me, Mike, and Mike and Denise. And we moved to Fort. When we moved to Fort Hood, I had my family. I was locked in. I was
Okay.
locked in. I was focused. I was tunnel vision, right? I was
Yes.
like, this is my family. I done left my first duty station behind with all my friends and getting acclimated to the Army life, partying. It's like a freshman. It's like your freshman year at
Yeah.
college, pretty much your first
Yeah.
year, your first duty station. But now I'm locked in. I see a career path. I see an end goal, and I see all these things that are uh, that's going to be beneficial to my family. My son Mike was born at Fort Hood,
Awesome.
and I had two children now, well, three in total, but two children now living with me. Um,
So
and
you
I would
had them with you by yourself?
no, me and my wife
Your wife. Okay. Okay. You
and
threw
my
them.
two children. Right, we
Gotcha.
all moved
Okay.
to Fort. We all moved to Fort Hood,
Gotcha.
and I was locked in. I was in it
You was in it to
for the
win it.
most part. I was in it to win it. I was, I mean, provider,
Mm-hmm.
protector. Um, but I still fell short in some areas of marriage. You know what I mean? I could have been more attentive. I could have been more selfless. I could have been more accommodating. But I could only do what I was conditioned to do.
Mm-hmm.
Looking back, you can
Yeah.
say, yeah, hindsight is
Yeah.
2020 for
And,
sure.
and you know what I think too, correct me if I'm wrong, you can only give what you have.
Right,
You can only give
right,
what you have. And you can't give what you don't have. You can't give what you don't know.
right,
Yeah.
right,
Not to make excuses, but I like to tell people that sometimes we expect um from an individual what they just don't have. They've never been taught to do that, whatever it is
right,
they're expecting, you know.
right.
Yeah, so go on.
Yeah, and although the water look calm on top, it could be an undercurrent that can sweep you away in trauma. And I had some traumas that I didn't deal with. Of course, I think I told you last time I was a foster kid, and so
Right, you can
sometimes,
share that. You can
huh?
share that because share that. Some of the viewers may not have
Yeah,
seen.
my mom, my birth mother was a heroin addict, so we went into foster care when I was about 6, and I was taken out of foster care by my foster mom, Florida Bradstreet, and raised that way. But I never really addressed the issue of abandonment. I never really addressed the issue of, hey, am I lovable? And so I dragged some of that stuff into my marriage. You know what I mean? Because sometimes when you're coming from a place of dysfunction, you think that things will only go right for so long, and they're bound to go wrong.
Right.
They're bound to go wrong. And when something come along and validate those feelings, then you throw caution to the wind and just you cash your chips in failure. And so that's what kind of happened in my marriage. I ain't gonna go into too much depth because I don't want to bash
Yeah,
my
no, no.
ex-wife or nothing like that. But there was some things in my marriage that I discovered uh, after leaving for a hood to go to Hawaii that really kind of broke me down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And took me to a place that confirmed my feelings that I was not lovable. If my biological mom don't love me, then nobody really gonna love
Right.
me. And the only person I really believed truly loved me at the time was my foster mom. You couldn't tell me she didn't love me. It's
Right.
nowhere in the world somebody bring you into their house, you breaking up all their furniture, you eating all their food, and they ain't getting no money. DCFS wasn't paying no money. You know what
That's
I
got to
mean? And
be love.
she just had a love for children. But again, my ex-wife, she did love me. She did. She really did.
Mhm.
Because I got to take responsibility for what I did to make things go that way. And
Right.
so I take full responsibility because I could have been more attentive, like I said, more attentive, um, more accommodating. But nevertheless,
Okay.
that
So
that
we got
we
three children now. You guys are
right,
divorced, And so you have 3 more kids. That's
Right.
I get to watch you with these 2 little ones.
Right.
And
Right.
I'm just like, whoa, I'm ecstatic. I cry sometimes when I see you
Right.
how you deal with them. But anyway,
Right.
so
Right.
talk about that, the next one.
Again, I got 3 children, my wife, and I had an older daughter as well. So it's 4 children. The first older 2 was born the same year. And so when and I share this, man. 'Cause I don't mind. 'Cause who knows who's gonna get helped by this? And I don't. The thing about our stories is we get to own our stories.
Yeah.
Therefore, no one can no one can take and use your story against you when you own it.
Yeah.
Because my story is my story. It's mine.
That's right.
No one owns it but me. And God is the author of my story. He's not writing down, hey, I want you to go do this sinful act. No, but he says, I'm so sovereign that when you do make a mistake, your mistakes in my hand are different than your mistakes in your hands.
Yeah.
Because I got the power to change mistakes into messages. But the mistake in my hand, it constantly keep blowing up. So I don't mind sharing my story. And so I retired from the Army in 2014.
Okay.
But I was home as a recruiter in 2007. So I retired from the Army in 2014. And man, me and my mom, we was just great. I would cut her grass every weekend. She had to pay me. You know what I mean? I made her pay me either in hugs or iced tea. You know what I mean? Whatever currency she felt like paying in, but it had to be one of the 2. And so we go out every Friday, meet her, my nanny, and a bunch of older ladies. I'll go out with them every Friday and eat lunch with them. And so later we discovered that my mom had cancer and she was keeping it from us. But I was taking her to all her doctor's appointments. And when we was at one doctor's appointment, the doctor asked, can he speak freely in front of me? She said, yeah. And he was like, well, your cancer has spread to your whole body, to your abdomen, to your groin area. And I'm like, cancer? I didn't even know. And I think that's the way she wanted me to find out. And so she's in there just smiling and I'm in there tearing up. I'm like, I didn't even know you had cancer. And so when the doctor left the office, I looked at my mom and said, you know, Mom, what we gonna do? I'm crying now. I'm full blown. Crying. What we gonna do? And my mom looked at me and said, well, we're going to Baskin Robbins. We're gonna get some ice cream. So we left West Jeff and went on La Palco and Berthier to the Baskin Robbins. Yeah. And me and her sat down and had ice cream. And we didn't even talk about it. She didn't talk about it. And so this had to be 2015. Then her cancer got progressively worse. And in 2016, she passed away. Wow. She passed away. Now, I'm not about to make no excuses, but I'm going to tell you my rationale and my mindset. You know, this was a woman.
Wait, before you go into not making any excuses and telling the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Right. We want the good folks to come back and hear the rest of this story. Okay. Week. This is DTM Real Talk because I want to hear it. And we're just doing what? Keeping it real. Right. Thanks for watching DTM Real Talk. Be sure to join us for more conversation. And oh yeah, don't forget to hit that like button, share, and subscribe while you're there.